Hey, chiropractors, welcome to Modern Chiropractic Mastery with your host, Dr. Kevin Christie, where we discuss the latest in marketing, business, and professional growth with some of the leading experts in the industry. Welcome to another episode of Modern Chiropractic Mastery. Today I bring on Darcy Sullivan, who is our resident expert on SEO, and we are also starting to navigate AI search. And so we're going to dive into that today. It's basically a SEO and AI search update show. We have her on a couple times a year to do that. It's an ever-changing topic, and she is the expert. So we're excited to have her on again. Before, just to make mention, one of our collaborators, we're excited to have Crossfields Interiors and Architecture. Like our other collaborators, I utilized the service back in 2022. I remodeled my clinic, just really needed to freshen it up, right? I bought it in 2013, did a bunch of build out back then. Every 10 years, things change, whether it's the design styles or furniture starts to get worn out or paint starts to get shoddy. And so we did a redesign on paint schemes. We did new flooring. We did new furniture, new artwork, and really brought it into the modern times with it. And it was a great experience, whether you're starting from scratch or you need to update your office and everywhere in between. They have the expertise, not only in design, but as it pertains to chiropractic offices, because you might need to have them design your flow, your patient flow, and an actual whole design of like the architecture design, not just the interior design. So they handle both. Whether you're, really trying to build out a great clinic or not. And it's just frankly worth the investment, and there is an ROI to it. There's nothing like having a nice office that you're proud of, and it does impact your clinic and your patient. Check them out at crossfieldsdesign.com. All right, without further ado, here is my interview with Darcy Sullivan. All right, ready to have Darcy Sullivan on our show. I think the most frequent guest we've had, because as you can imagine, everything search is not only very important for your clinic, but it's always ever changing. And so she's our resident SEO specialist. And not only have we had on our podcast for a while, has worked with a lot of our clients and then worked with a lot of chiropractors in general. So I think, Darcy, we originally met because we're both local here, which was cool. And you helped me out. I think it might be 15 years ago now, right?
At least I'd say 10 or 11. I don't know.
It's something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's all blurring together now.
Yes. But I'm glad to be back on your show.
Yeah, definitely. From an overarching standpoint, what's new in your professional world, and just what are you excited about?
Excited about AI, scared of AI,
Yeah.
which I think is how most people feel.
Yes. That's an honest answer.
It is, right?
Yeah.
So search has definitely been continuing to evolve. And so strategy needs to continue to evolve.
Yeah, it does. And I presented to our East and West Mastermind for our weekend one of 2026. So we were in Park City for the East group. Ironically, I know Park City's not in the East. They wanted to ski. And then we were in Tucson, Arizona for the West group. And so I led the presentation just on marketing in general. But one of the things we talked about was the flywheel effect of getting, the marketing going, and it takes time, and then you get that flywheel turning and the results come. And I've always felt like search is one of the biggest flywheels a chiropractic clinic can have. And then all of a sudden it's just spitting out new patients every month. So it's worth keeping up with the changes. It's worth keeping up with the fundamentals as well. But I have a handful of questions and topics here that I kind of derived from, chatting with you, but also other chiropractors that are asking me questions and our coaching clients and things like that. So let's just dive right in. Okay.
Let's do it.
First one I have is, what is the biggest change you are seeing in Google search right now that clinic owners are missing?
So I think in general, as we're seeing AI come about, and people don't realize how much information is being pulled from your website because, maybe AI is showing a bit on Google or Claude or Grok or really any of the sources.
Yeah.
And so people want to show up in these places, but they almost can't connect the idea that a lot of those actions take place on their website. And so really having a built out information filled website helps them pull these pockets of information that they're displaying, whether it's Google, as we know and love, or some of these other AI searches that are now becoming more and more popular.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, obviously you and I've been preaching that for a while as far as making your website the hub and really like a living, breathing thing. And it's going to be all the more important now because I think sometimes people psychologically, like, oh, do I need to write blogs on my website? Do I need to have condition pages and stuff? Are people going to read those? Well, yeah, people are going to read them. People are going to get your website and read stuff like that. But you got to look at it also just the fact that AI is going to be reading it, and people are going to have
Yeah.
really distinct searches, and if you don't have that stuff, you're just not going to exist in the world of AI search.
It's not just that you're not going to exist, but let's say you personally rely too much on AI to put together your content because you're like, oh, I'm going to build out all this content on the website. So you have all of this quote unquote content, but it's so bland that it's exactly what everybody else has. It doesn't make you the option that is going to be highlighted. So it's one, people are scanning content, which is why, websites have structure of headers, subheaders within content below them so that people can scan the content, but also so AI can scan the content. So AI might pull something from the bottom of a page versus your reader when they first arrive on that website, they're looking through and starting at the top. So it's a different world.
Now, can AI determine if something is AI slop and not want to feed that to as the answer?
I don't think that's the right question to ask because I think that's the question and the way people ask it. And the
Yeah.
real answer is that AI and people are looking for, well, AI, Google is looking to provide the searcher with the result that best matches what that person was searching for with the intent that they had. Generic AI content isn't going to stand out because if you're just writing generic AI content and it's so vague,
Mm.
WebMD or something is going to be the result, right?
Yeah.
And versus something that's more specific and geared towards your offering, your modalities, your treatment style, the insurances that you accept if you accept insurances, your process, your location, etc.
Yeah, because that's the thing is the prompting is so people are getting better at prompting, and the specific prompting is going to be it's not like keyword, right? Like low back pain, Boca Raton per se. That's still happening, but a lot of people might prompt. I'm looking for a chiropractor that does active release technique in Boca Raton, Florida, and is in network with my Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. Like it's going to be stuff like that.
Exactly. And these searches are becoming, the searcher's becoming more educated. They're
Yeah.
they're searching exactly like you said. And, years ago, we started talking about voice SEO. We've been talking about voice SEO for 10, 15 years, but it's the same thing now that people became used to voice SEO, became used to pushing the button to talk. They're asking these questions and they really do want customized treatment. Unless they're just shopping around for the cheapest solution.
Mhm.
But if they're really somebody that usually is your target ideal patient, they're looking for what you offer. We just have to make sure that you're the one that stands out.
Yeah, and so you're saying that I guess one of the biggest mistakes they're making is not turning their website into really a content hub, essentially.
Absolutely. And, I think that the word content, we use the word content so much that
Yeah.
I don't want people to think that that means that they have to do a million blogs. But when you start with your core foundation of your website before you start blogging and making sure that you have these built out pages regarding the services or modalities
Mhm.
that you offer, the conditions that you treat, your process, And also, AI loves questions. So including some of these frequently asked questions on specific pages helps you with your ranking. And I have to be careful the way I word this because sometimes people like just go to the bottom of all their pages and they're like, frequently asked questions and just put in a bunch of googly garb, any and everything that AI tells them are questions related to that topic. Whereas, like, if you look at, for example, your Shockwave page, we've got these headers that ask some of the common questions about Shockwave and then go into the answers. So if somebody near you is looking for a Shockwave expert,
Mhm.
you stand above because others are just like, "Oh, yeah, we do Shockwave. It's a bullet point on our website.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
it."
that page has actually been very fruitful for us, so thank you. Yeah, it's, definitely been we even had, in an ortho, wanna find someone to do Shockwave for one of his patients, and our website pulled up when he searched, and so that was nice as well. Chiropractors, if your website traffic or Google Maps visibility has felt a little unpredictable lately, you're not imagining it. A lot is changing behind the scenes. AI is reshaping how search results show up. Competition in the map pack is getting tougher, and simply ranking well does not always translate into new patients. That's why Propel Marketing and Design is hosting a free chiropractic SEO workshop. You'll learn what's actually changing with Google Maps, how AI is impacting the way patients find and choose clinics, and what small, realistic updates you can make this year to stay visible and competitive. This is not a high level talk or a bunch of jargon. It's a practical step by step workshop built for busy clinic owners who want clear direction and next steps they can actually implement. Save your spot for free at propelyourcompany.com/MCM SEO workshop 2026. And we'll see you there. Moving on to the next one, which is kind of a tie in on AI, but how do AI overviews and AI generated searches change what we should publish on a clinic website? Is there anything that we should change that we're doing, especially with the AI overviews?
So it's not necessarily that you should change, and this really does kind of tie into the previous question, is we're still looking to make sure that you're having in-depth content on your core website before you go into doing the blog post, but
Mhm.
also that you're structuring your content in a way that is going to be easy for AI to understand, which again, subheaders, content, that kind of flow helps it, along with actually providing the content that they're searching for. So, pay attention to the conversations that you're having with people that are coming in and what wording are they using? Because sometimes we get hung up on the doctor talk and what the real problem is, but they're using some other terminology. And so we want to meet them with the terms that they're using, which is keywords, but also, we're kind of expanding keywords here because everybody's searching a little differently and more advanced these
Yeah.
days.
Yeah, like, and to tie that in, you're not gonna write you might not use the word discogenic low back pain or something, right? Or, things like that. You might start to use sciatica or a lot of chiropractors get bent out of shape when you say TMJ, just,
Mhm.
and it's so they'll use TMD, which, the patients are never gonna type in TMD, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, you gotta look at it from that perspective for sure. So, okay, cool. And then, what are some local SEO tactics? Because obviously, before I ask a question, I want, give the audience a little bit of context. There's obviously certain businesses that are not a local business.
Mhm.
They might sell supplements nationally or whatever. They're not a local brick and mortar. Obviously, the vast majority of our audience are chiropractors that are brick and mortar. There are some people listening to this that are not. But with that context, what are some local SEO tactics that are not worth the effort anymore to do?
Well, there's a handful. One of my favorite which is that old, but one of my favorite Google business profile strategies used to be to really optimize your Q&A section,
Hmm.
but Google stripped that away. and they're changing it into this new AI search. So
Mm.
you have to have those valuable questions and answers on your website so that, they're able to pull that information. In addition to that, reviews, which I know you're probably gonna ask me about testimonials later, so I don't wanna get ahead of myself. They're just so important when it comes to local SEO. And there's still some people that are doing, like, the gatekeeping where they have on their website where it's like, "Leave us a review," and it's got, like, how many stars, and if you're gonna pick lower than what they want, it takes you to a form page versus going to Google to leave a review. Google doesn't love that. Uh, so that's a little outdated. Buying backlinks, ooh, so outdated and doesn't
Mhm.
work. Also, just putting up content and doing blogs because you feel like you're supposed to
Yeah.
doesn't work
A
anymore.
lot of marketing I've learned over the years is to soothe the own chiropractic owner's soul that they're doing marketing.
Yes, yeah, I would agree with that as well.
Let's take a short break from today's episode to tell you about the best decision I've made in my clinic in the last 10 years, and that has been adding shockwave therapy to our clinic. The outcomes have been really impressive. Certain conditions we were struggling with in the past, we're now seeing results with the shockwave therapy for that. And second of all, the ROI has been really good. You know, when you make a big investment in something, you want to see a return, and we're seeing that return in clinical outcomes and in our investment, and that's been really nice to see. I chose Keenest Medical for 4 reasons. One is the technology is top notch. You have to have great technology. There's a lot out there that isn't quite up to snuff. The second thing is they have a really good clinical training. They have an exclusive partnership with Academy of Shockwave Excellence so that you can become clinically proficient in shockwave. You do need to get skilled at it. I think that's a big differentiator between practices that are getting great results and seeing the ROI is they have a great clinical aspect to that as well. So you want to get trained appropriately. Third is they have in-house service team for all of your technical support, which is key when you're investing in a machine like this. And then lastly, they have a very in-depth marketing and business support for you so that you can launch this into your practice effectively, that you can get that ROI on it, that you can get the clinical outcomes. And they also have really good financing options if you need that. So go to kinasmedical.com, KINAS medical.com, mention MCM podcast and receive a free shockwave in practice book with a purchase of a unit. So that's kinasmedical.com, KINAS medical.com, and mention MCM podcast. To piggyback on that, Google reviews are obviously very important. Is it still on Google Business Profile where you can list your insurance plans you're on? And is that helpful for this?
That's helpful. So is doing the direct booking if
Yeah.
you have a link to your direct booking.
Okay.
Now, one thing that's different now that
Mhm.
AI is starting to take over is AI is really, or your reviews are training AI about your company. Everything that you feed in is training AI about your company. But what I see a lot of, especially chiropractors, is they're asking for reviews the wrong way.
Mhm.
They're asking people to leave a review, and people leave a review like, "The office was clean, the staff was friendly." Those are fine. But what Google does is it looks at some of these repeater words, and, like, you'll even see those, they'll make them bold in the reviews because it thinks those are most related to those keywords are most related to your business. Whereas if you were to do such a small change as to change the way you ask for a review to something like, "What brought you in today and how was your experience?"
Mhm.
Someone's more likely to say, "I came in with knee pain. I had a shockwave treatment. I feel
Right.
better already."
Like it.
That is going to, and that's so simple. That's
Yeah.
non-technical. That's something you can implement today that will be huge in the rewards that it gives back to you.
Awesome. I'm gonna do that. Writing it down. I uh I have this podcast not for anything other than to steal information from people so I can apply it to my practice and grow the practice, and that's one of them. So thank you.
You're
Um,
welcome.
all right. So good stuff there. Now, um, how should you, we kind of touched on a little bit, but how should clinics think about content now? Is it like fewer blogs, more in depth with it? Something else that we should think about, like when we do create content, should we think about like, is YouTube, like getting videos on YouTube going to be helpful? Like, what are some of the content distributions on that? Where are we at on it?
Yeah, so all great questions. Now, I know that you love video. More people are starting to really love video. What I see as a missed opportunity there is
Mm,
some people like the cheese stands alone, where they're just posting video on YouTube and missing the opportunity to take it and turn it into a quality blog
mm, mm.
post. And it's not that we're saying you don't need to blog anymore. Blogging's still amazing. It's the crummy blog post, the AI written blog post, the vague blog post, the blog post that shows no personality that isn't going to help you the way that it would have maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Mhm.
So when it comes to your website, obviously focus on your core pages when it comes to your website and local SEO, in the footer of your website, we want your address, we want the Google map embedded. We want people to be able to know where you're located. Your map and your address should also be on your contact page. I know that sounds simple, but you'd be surprised how many people are missing that opportunity.
Oh yeah.
And then it's that core content on your website, like, not just listing bullet points or listing chiropractic one time, but like going into
Mm.
detail about your process and having specific services or modality pages and specific conditions pages is going to help you with your rankings along with the about and the FAQs.
Yeah, during the mastermind that I was talking about, that I was leading the marketing on that, one of the things we did do was a whole section on website reviews, and these are all clinics that are very successful practices and high wherewithal within the members. But we did website reviews, and what we actually did was we demoed mine, and we demoed Ashley and Brittany's, who you had just done their website, and we kind of use it as an example of what we want to start to see in a website, and then we had a few people volunteer to audit their website in front of the group, which is the group's great. Like we could do those things, and people don't get their feelings hurt. And yeah, there was a lot of things that were surprising. And then we had everybody break down into small groups of 4 and bring a laptop and review a smaller group on each website. And it was pretty eye-opening for a lot of members on things they need to improve.
Yeah, I mean, bare minimum, if you just have somebody look at your website with fresh eyes and
Mm.
ask them, as soon as you land on the website, do you know who we serve, what we offer, where we're located, and what surrounding area we serve? Along with, was it easy for you to book an appointment? Was it frictionless? Like, did you understand what the next steps should be that you take? Do you understand what we offer? Do you understand what conditions we treat? And you'll be surprised because I think we just become numb because we're so used to being like, oh, yeah, well, that's on the website. And I hear that phrase all the time. Well, it's on
Yeah.
our website. And you're like, oh, well, it's buried down here in a sentence really low that no one's going to read. But
Mm.
okay.
Yeah, and going back to what you were saying before, with shooting video, one of the things we talk about with content and AI is, and I heard this originally in my strategic coach group, because we talk a lot about AI, but really it seems like the sweet spot is human plus AI. And so if you shoot a video and it's your information and your expertise, and you take that and tease out the info into some kind of written content form, then it's going to be your points of view and things like that. And it's not going to be just purely AI generated and made up.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the easiest ways to add personality
Mm.
to something is to have the video. What the issue ends up being is sometimes people just put a video up and they just assume that everybody's going to push play and watch it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they don't include any written content surrounding it. And it's just a missed opportunity.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I want to tell you about something my clinic has recently integrated because I think it's relevant to much of what we talk about on this show. If you're maxed out and can't take new patients, or patients are getting better and just leaving, You don't have a clinical problem, you have a systems problem. That's what P2P pathway solves for you. It's a model that takes your patients from rehab into ongoing strength and performance programming inside your existing practice using Tonal's AI driven equipment. No trainer required, no separate gym build out. The result is recurring monthly revenue that doesn't depend on how many patients you can personally see in a day. They run live seminars where they walk you through the entire system, hands on, in person. Attendees also get exclusive discounts on equipment, including Tonal, that you can't get anywhere else. Seats are limited. The link is in the show notes. If you're serious about adding a recurring revenue stream to your practice, this is worth your 2 days. So check out www.p2ppathway.com. All right, last question I got for you. And I actually get this one often, and I never give a good answer, so hopefully you will. Yeah. How do you handle multi-location clinics now? So Google sends people to the right location page and not the wrong one.
So that's a great question. And in fact, I think I just got an email from I think it was a chiropractor in one of your groups or another chiropractor yesterday asking a similar question because they're starting to build out, as a lot of chiropractors are expanding. One is when you have that new location, on your website, you need dedicated pages for each of your specific locations,
Mm.
and they should not be generic. They should highlight that location, include the address, the embedded map, talk about the services that are provided at that location, showcasing that that location is different than the other locations. And then you need a Google Business Profile listing for that location. It's
Mhm.
not an add-on. You don't just there seems to be some confusion with that. You don't just, like, add it on to your original Google Business Profile listing, um, which I think some people get hung up on. But anyways, you want to make sure that you have the new location on your website on a page that's primary to it, and then start building out your NAP listings, which NAP stands for name, address, and phone number, making sure that those listings are listed throughout. So your Google Business Profile listing, Yelp, Apple Maps, Bing Business, all of the core locations where you can put listings. You want to make sure that you have those listings. And once you have that, then make sure that throughout your website, it's seasoned, if you will, with location-based words that relate to both locations.
And kind of an ancillary question, but I know you and I have talked about this in the past. If someone changes locations, addresses, leaves a clinic and goes to another, opens their own, things like that. Is there a particular service software that helps you clean up bad addresses?
Well,
Is it
there's
worth doing that?
personally, I think it's worth doing it on your own if you have the time. Um, There are a couple of them. I'd rather not necessarily name the names of the software, but I will say this. I will say don't invest in one that requires you to pay annually. There are ones that you can do a one-time flat fee, and
Mhm.
I would just do that. But one core element, especially if you're working with a marketing agency, is to make sure that you have your login information for all your core accounts. So your Google Business Profile listing, your website, all of your core listings that either you and an admin that you work with, you and somebody else has access to these listings, because that's where the issue lies. And that you keep track of, I don't know, your name and your password for them, your username and password, because that's where the issue usually comes in, is when somebody's like, well, this old marketing company set stuff up for us and it's wrong and no, we can't get a hold of them.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I'm notorious for I use LastPass for all my stuff, but I never can remember my LastPass password to get into all my passwords. Because Becky, who's producing this right now, is probably laughing because I have to slack her for that one. But yeah, it's I saw a funny meme or whatever. It was like, if you're of my age, you can remember your landline phone number from 1987. but you can't remember your passwords for anything from like last week.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I could actually remember my neighbor's phone number still because that we were really close. And yeah, you just like you had to actually remember phone numbers back then. Remember that?
Crazy notion, yeah.
Well, Darcy, this was great, and thank you for hopping on again. Obviously, we'll continue to have you on as things change, and I just want to leave everybody with this that yeah, like you said early on, AI is exciting and scary. I think from a chiropractor's perspective, if your business is reliant on hands-on and in-person treatment, AI is not going to impact you in replacing you for a very long time, if ever. So that's a good news. A lot of people are concerned about that. So you got that under your belt, but also you do have to understand that AI could impact you negatively if you don't keep up with this stuff because there's going to be practices in your community that are going to be keeping up with it. And so if you're not, you could see a decrease in business because the other folks are going to get the business potentially. And so I don't want AI to impact you that way. So just have someone in-house or out-house to really keep you up to speed on this stuff. It doesn't have to cost an arm and a leg, and it can really be impactful for your practice. Do you agree with that, Darcy?
Absolutely.
All right.
Perfectly stated.
Perfect. So, well, thank you again. And where can people reach out? You got anything for them before we
Sure,
sign off?
absolutely. So they can always go to the website, propelyourcompany.com, and I'll provide you with a link. We're putting together a chiropractic SEO starter kit that anybody listening to this episode can get in the show notes.
Perfect. Well, I thank you again.
Thanks for having me.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. And if you want to make the shift from busy, broke, and broken to time-free and cash confident, or you just want to continue with the exponential growth, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com. Look at the MCM Mastery tab, watch the short video on there, and check out what we are doing now for evidence-informed chiropractors. We are equal parts coaching and marketing done for you. Yes, you shoot some videos, we help you with campaign strategies and ideas and really become a thought leader in your community. You shoot those videos, you send them to us, we produce, edit, and brand them to you. Then we distribute them through all of your channels. We also take them and we turn it into one good blog per month. And every other month, we have Darcy Sullivan producing a robust blog with a topic that you pick from her database to help with your SEO. So we essentially become your content marketing agency to make sure your practice is always having ethical, elegant content marketing to help grow your practice. On the coaching side, we also help you with everything from marketing ideas to business, communications, finances, anything practice growth, and really try to help prevent you from being stuck on that island. And we hold you accountable. We have a great group of doctors that are just doing amazing things. And we look forward to help you out to take that next step in your practice. So again, check us out at modernchiropracticmarketing.com and learn more.